Hey, everybody. We're just going to wait for a little bit.
Got 6 minutes. Black folks ain't ever early for nothing.
You weren't here, so.
Hold on, I need some Pepsi.
We're just going to wait till 7 o'clock to let people get signed on for a little bit. Crazy. Stop.
I was going to ice cube. Don't tell nobody. That's between me and you, okay? And everybody online.
And everybody that's online.
Are we recording this?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think so. I think it just records itself.
Please, Jesus, be recording it because I don't want to do this. Who's there?
I don't know. Don't know how you'll see lots of stuff.
Is it quiet here? It's so quiet.
It's quiet. We had our one teenager take our 5-year-old and the other one take the baby. So it'll be quiet until the dog barks.
Thank Jesus.
Yes. See, he's about to bark.
Hey, calm down.
Archie.
My wife is always early. Always.
I am.
Like she gets don't get me wrong, it's a good quality, but sometimes it is annoying because we're sitting here 5 minutes.
I have anxiety, okay? So if I'm late, it bothers me.
Is that a black-white thing?
I don't know. I think it's a mental illness thing.
Or is it or is it just a quirk somebody has? Or?
I think it's anxiety is what it is.
I'm gonna just say me. I've noticed a lot of my buddies too. Like a lot of the black drivers at my job, we show up right on time. It's not like we're getting there 20, and a lot of the white drivers get there like 45 minutes early. Like, what are y'all doing?
It's a thing.
We don't want to be at work
at
as
my
it is.
Job, I would get there early, but sit in the parking lot.
Why?
So I wasn't late. So yeah.
I'm not sitting anywhere but at my house. That early. 15 minutes early.
Yeah.
So when people say stuff to us, it'll come up here.
Yeah.
You know I can't read that good.
I'll read it for you.
Yes.
All right. Do you want to start or do you want to wait?
I'm gonna look at one person, but we 6:57.
All right.
Nah, 3 minutes ain't gonna kill nobody. And it's recorded, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Baby, don't say that. All right, let's do it.
Okay. So we are going to start our episode. We're going to talk about like privilege in general with your socioeconomic status, your gender, your race, and how that impacts you in your life. We're also going to talk about, tied into that, with white privilege, we're going to talk about what can happen with that and what we should do about it, which is called white guilt, and go from there. I do want to start off the episode basically saying rest in peace to RBG.
Man, that hurt.
I was invited to a candlelight vigil this morning to go there right now, so missing that for this, but hey, I wanted to throw that out there and
I want our viewers to know how important that is.
Right.
That woman passing.
Yeah.
The reason Trump is in office right now is because Trump promised the Christians. Now, if you're a Christian, don't get mad at me.
I'm a Christian.
Hey, wait a minute. And if you get upset with me,
let them know.
No, you can let me know, but I'm gonna be like, I don't care.
No.
Because the simple fact is that I don't agree with abortions. I would never personally hope my wife would ever want one if we happen to have a child we wasn't expecting, which would suck. But
we would have it.
We both did the do to have the baby, so it's going to come. If she's pregnant, ain't nothing I can do about it. Just go work harder. I'm gonna be mad when I'm working harder, but I'm going to be working harder. I'm not going to give up a child just because I don't want the baby because I'm just being lazy. But I believe God gives you stuff in life for a reason. So I do not agree with abortions, but I also am not going to tell a woman what she can and can't do with her body. That's abuse. I don't hit my wife. I don't tell her what to do. I don't raise my voice at her. When I do, it's like, sweetie.
No, he gets mad.
Sweet, but I'm saying sweetie and honey pot, honey bun. I don't want Taco Bell.
We do argue over food. That's like that's about it.
I like to eat.
We do, both of us. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, and then also not talk about the ramifications, but just know that like that's what
they wanted. They wanted to follow the Supreme Court
about it.
And they're going to get it.
So I wanted to go over like certain privileges that our baby's down here. Certain privileges that we have, or certain oppressions that have happened to us, and see like what y'all think about it, if it's happened to you. Okay. I took a lot of it. I'm a researcher and he's a wing it guy. So we mesh well together, kind of.
It's not that I don't read. It's just
like if you know the Harry Potter houses, I know I'm a Ravenclaw because I, sorted myself. But he's probably a Gryffindor because he just runs in head first, brave, and wings it, like whatever happens.
Just being honest. I watch these movies, but I don't know nothing's going on.
I force him to watch.
These people are on broomsticks. I get on. I don't get it.
So that's us in a nutshell. Like I research everything, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, that's happened to me," So that's how this is gonna go. So my job actually made us do a diversity and inclusion training this year, and they're making us do it every year as part of trying to make our job more inclusive and understanding. So
without getting fired, what do you truly think about that?
Without getting what?
Like about them making you do that?
I think it's important, but I don't think everyone takes it seriously. I think everyone's just like, "Oh, this is required training. I'll take it." But after the training, they're just like, "Oh, that's fine."
Right.
So
okay.
Like, I think that's what
I guess
happens.
that's most job training stuff.
Right. Like we have to do fire safety training and HIPAA training and all that too. So but we had to do like managing our biases, and then we had to do diversity and inclusion. So in the diversity and inclusion training, they talked about privileges and the different privileges we have. So they said privileges can impact your individual access and your opportunities. So being a woman, like that's a gender privilege or disadvantage. So like my husband, he makes more money than me. I'm not going to say because he's a man, but I have 2 college degrees, right? And he has 0 college degrees.
That's the job I do.
Right.
I would say, yeah, it's because I'm a man.
But he also has a more physically hard job, which I would say that's because he's a man too.
Not saying that my job won't hire women. I've been there for almost going on my 5th year now, 4.5 or something like that. I can't even remember. But I've seen 1 female in the warehouse, and I've seen 0 female drivers. I think women could do the job.
Well, you had women in your trucking class.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Women are better truck drivers than men.
But see, we talked about that the other day too, because like I was looking at a job online and it makes like 6 figures, but it does require traveling, right? And we were talking about how as a woman, that's not as accepted for you to just go and leave your husband and your kids and travel all the time.
That's true. I will cry like a baby.
But if a man does it, like he used to be an over-the-road driver, but if a man does it, they're just like, oh, he's doing what he has to do to provide.
Oh, I'm in Dakota today, baby. How you doing?
Yeah. So to me, that's a disadvantage of being a woman because like we're just expected to we're expected to work, but we're also expected to stay home and raise the kids and take care of the house. And us traveling for our jobs is way less accepted. That's like a gender role thing. Not saying we can't do it. It's just, it's frowned upon, I guess you could say. And then the other thing, sorry, I have to look at my notes. Was the wage gap, which is what we were talking about. And I looked up a stat on that. And a woman's average earnings will be less than a man with the same education. So my husband doesn't have the education that I have, but if he did, technically he would be more likely to make more money than me.
Yeah, if I went to college.
He's a man.
Yeah.
Right. So I wanted to bring that up. Now,
since I can't read, I can't go to college.
He can read. He tries to pretend our baby's trying to break out of the baby gate upstairs. So I wanted to jump from that to talk about a subject that some people don't really think exists, and that is white privilege. And the way I define white privilege is a privilege that you have based on your race. Like there's no other factors to it. It's just a racial privilege, basically. A lot of people don't think, I don't know if it's a lot of people, but people don't think it exists necessarily.
In my opinion on that, I think people that agree or think that doesn't exist as white privilege, as we say, don't want to admit to it. It's like, no, that don't happen when they know in the back of their mind it does.
Well, and white privilege isn't saying that you as a white person have never had any hardships or you've never struggled or Dr. Pepper break, that you've never struggled or not had anything or had to work hard. It's just saying that you haven't been discriminated against because of the color of your skin. Right?
Right.
Okay. So going along with that, I also had stats on that as well. And I can post the references at the bottom of this video after it's over too. But job applicants with white sounding names are 50% more likely to get an interview than applicants with black sounding names.
Yeah, that does happen.
Does happen. The title of that article is Are Emily and Greg more employable than Lakeisha and Jamal? Right.
I mean, nobody is really going to, not a lot of people are ever going to admit that they have thrown people's applications out because of the name on the application. They have their own perceptions of black people before they meet them. They're either afraid of them or they don't like them for any other reason.
Or if you are like a certain person in the White House, you just think they're stupid because of their genetics, which isn't true.
I didn't know that.
But we did a video on it.
No, I didn't know that I was stupid.
No, you're not. I'm just saying, like, certain people might have that
perception or misconception.
But didn't your mom do that? Like she named you Nicholas.
Yes, my name is Nicholas Wayne Ivy.
Right.
And I did ask her, I said, Mom, why you name me Nicholas? She goes,
your dad wanted to name you Bruce or
John Wayne. John Wayne.
There we go.
I was almost John Wayne. Does that make people? But anyway, my mother told me to my face, she's like, look, son, I named you Nicholas so you could get a job when you get older. And when I was 10 or 11 years old, I didn't understand what she meant. And then when I went to fill out, I filled out my first application at McDonald's, and they called me like in less than a day. Hey, Nicholas, hey, how are you doing? And then, all right, cool, show up. And I showed up. I was black. The lady looked at me. She goes, come on back.
I mean,
I'm already there.
You got the job though, because
I got the job.
Qualified for the job.
Yeah, I mean, I was flipping hamburgers.
It's basically saying you have a 50% less chance of even getting in the door if you have a black sounding name versus a white sounding name.
Yeah, so, which is bad. I mean, that's absolutely dumb. Like, right? Anybody that's coming to get a job, they can't be that bad of a person. If you want to work for a living and make money, how bad are you? I mean, now. But
I mean, there are people also that go into interviews that lie throughout the whole interview, and you don't realize who they are until you hire them, and you're like, "Oh, we didn't know that."
Like, oh, so you're a piece of shit. I didn't know.
Yeah. Fine. But another stat on that: prison sentences for Black men are nearly 20% longer than those of white men that commit the same crime.
Yeah. People don't want that is a privilege, but people don't want to admit that.
Right.
You have an ounce of weed, the same white guy that gets pulled over an ounce of weed gets 6 months. The black dude ends up getting 2 or 3, 5 years.
Right.
That's for the same amount of weed. And it's just weed, but that's just, I guess it's a law.
Which that law might be going away.
Let's hope so. I mean, I drive a truck, so I have a federal license, but if it was federally free for me to do it, I can smoke weed. And I believe I'm going to eat it, smoke. I might not smoke it. I might eat it, a lot of it, but because I'm fat.
But I mean, personal examples that we have of white privilege, and I really want to do a social experiment on this.
Oh, we're going to. It's coming.
But like, I think I've said in our first video, when we go out separately versus together, we're treated way differently. Like, he gets followed around stores. You've actually had a racial discrimination case at a former job. Like, all these examples, you've been racially profiled trying to buy shoes. Like, none of that has ever happened to me, and it never will happen to me.
I used to work at Walmart for a few years, about 5 years. I probably said this before, but I know they have a division called loss prevention. And those people walk around in regular clothes. Like, they walk around in stuff that you would not, they don't walk around in a Walmart uniform. So basically, you don't pay attention to them while they watch people steal. So I go in there grocery shopping, and I'm having loss prevention stand at the end of the aisle, look around the corner, watching me the whole time. And I just wave at them because I know who they are. And once you point them out, they know who you are. They notice that you notice them, and they walk off. But the fact that they watch me, I'm not stealing nothing. I'm getting food.
Right. But I mean, that happens all the time. Like, we had another diversity and inclusion training a few years ago at work. And the lady told a story about her best friend was a Black girl, and they went to 7-Eleven. And it's a 7-Eleven that this white girl goes to all the time. And so she didn't think anything about it, but she went in there with her friend, and she noticed that the clerk was like following her friend around. And so she confronted her, and she's like, hey, like, what are you doing? You know, basically. And the person was like, oh, I'm just making sure y'all are getting what you need. You know, but she knew what was happening because it had never happened to her without her friend being there.
Yeah.
You know, so when she left,
this is normal.
When she left, she got in the car and she like apologized to her friend, and her friend was like, I mean, that happens.
It's normal.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
But to a lot of white people, that is earth shattering when they visually see what we're talking about.
Well, because we don't know what. In my case, when I saw you racially profiled buying shoes, you don't know what to do. You kind of are in that weird like limbo in your brain. Like, is this really happening?
Oh,
you know?
In your brain, you're going, is this happening?
Yeah.
And in my brain is, should I knock this motherfucker out right here? Are you? Okay. Excuse me. My bad, y'all. I'm thinking, like, look, these shows, it's how we talk to each other. Right. I don't call her the MF word, but I talk to her like I'm talking normal all the time. To a friend. So sometimes I forget I'm on camera. Yeah. But sorry about that. Yeah, so a lot of things go through my head. No, he didn't. No, she didn't. Right. I mean, back up.
But like in the moment, you're just sitting there like, I don't know what to do in this situation. Like, do I call this person out for being this way? Do I just leave my stuff here and go? Which is probably what we should have done.
My major question when that stuff happens, did you check their bags? Did you?
Right, which we didn't do in the moment.
Right. That's what usually goes to my brain.
Yeah. But in the moment, I don't know why.
It caught us off guard. We weren't even looking. We weren't even. The dude that popped up on me, just like Ace Ventura me, popped up. Like I was looking at my wife, and all of a sudden he was right next to me, and I'm like, "Oh, what's up, man? Can I check your boxes?" It was that quick. Yeah. And like I didn't see him walk up, or I didn't see him look at me. Or nothing.
Had someone helping you from the moment you walked in the door.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they didn't know what was in the boxes or that he had been there the whole time. It was
long story short, little stuff like this happens to black folks all the time. It's the same thing is said when if you got a black friend and he says, I fear the police pulling me over. The police beat us. The police pull us out of our cars. Believe when a black person says that, believe him. What the hell we want to lie about that for? Believe him.
Well, and with the job thing, that you are 50% more likely to get interviewed if you have a white sounding name versus a black sounding name. That affects everything. That affects your jobs, but that can also affect you getting into college and your future opportunities. So if you think jobs are doing this, colleges are doing it too. And people always say, oh, well, black people can get in because of affirmative action. But that's the reason affirmative action exists.
People that say that don't understand affirmative action.
Right. But that's the reason it exists, because these discriminations exist in the system.
Can I explain one thing?
Do it, please.
Affirmative action. The number one person in America or people in America that benefit from affirmative action is white women. Look it up. They get it through the white women get the benefit through their husbands by the education they get from their jobs. If their husband's working and the woman wants to go back to school or something like that, they get those applications first. Women, black women and white women get those opportunities before black men or Hispanic men.
Oh, like saying you have a job and you want to go improve yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. They get those loans and this and that.
Okay.
There's lots of other ways that
I will have to look at.
There's lots of other ways that they benefit. Yeah, we'd have to make up a whole nother show to let that out.
What, on affirmative action?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, if those discrepancies and discriminations exist in job applications, they exist in college applications. So stuff like affirmative action had to be put into place so that those discriminations didn't happen as often. But I mean, if you look at any of these major universities, their percentages versus white people, black people, Asians, all that, they're not equal. So, I mean, I don't really know where people are getting that from. Like, oh, they're just super advantaged, But something that stems from white privilege is something called white guilt. And a lot of people have heard that term. And it's basically like, once you figure out all these discriminations and oppressions are happening still and have happened in the past, you feel like guilt or shame as a white person that you are somehow benefiting from others' being oppressed. And I I guess what I want to say about that is I know I have ancestors that were slave owners. And I, as a white person, I can say that was wrong. I don't know that I should necessarily be like, feel shame or guilt about that because like I didn't actually do it, but I think I should call it out. Be like, that was wrong. This is what I'm doing to fix it. Like, I think I should speak out against racism, against systematic injustices, and advocate for people.
That's really the only thing you can do. Because
Right.
I look at people that bring up white guilt or people that are angry because they don't want that to be thrown in their face that their ancestors had slaves. And that's how this country was built.
Right.
That's how this country. That's how this country came to fruition because of slavery. Like slaves built a lot of this country. I would say about all of it in the early days. It's cotton gins and things of that sort.
And it wasn't just African American slaves, like Chinese and Asian.
Yeah, they were brought over the railroads. Yes, I'm looking at the fact that people get defensive. My ancestors did that. I didn't do that, and there's no slaves today, and nobody alive today had slaves.
Well, maybe this is wrong for me to say, but I don't think that should be held against.
No, I'm not saying that.
Current white people, but I think current white people have a responsibility to say, hey, that wasn't right. And I'm going to call that out and say that wasn't right. And I'm talking about speak up for right. I know.
Right. I'm talking about the ones that don't want to call it out, know what's going on.
Well, those are the people that don't admit that white privilege even exists.
They're right. They're mostly racist pieces of POSs. I'll say POS. I say POS.
Sure. Go for it.
But it's like those are the people that get on my nerves. Those are the people that automatically just stop talking to them.
Right.
Because you're never going to convince them. You're never going to talk them, change their mind about anything. They're set in their ways. They want to be set in their ways. So let them be.
That's why I wanted to give like not only personal examples of how we have benefited. I have benefited from white privilege, or how he has been racially discriminated against both at work and in everyday life, was to say like, hey, this exists, and then give the examples of prison sentences and job applications to say, hey, this happens. It's not some like made up thing that Black people are saying, like it happens every single day.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
That is basically all I had on the subject, unless you had something else on white privilege or oppression.
My deal was mainly the people that deny it.
Okay.
The people that deny it knows that it happens. Those are the ones that actually know what's going on. They probably know more than me. But they do their studying and they say, oh, this is not true. This is not. I think the last time I had a discussion on this in public was at a poker table. And I don't think the white guy was trying to upset me because I was actually winning that night. So if you get in a poker game is also it's a lot of luck, but it's also mental. So when I go play cards, I play cards at a few of these casinos around town, but I always have earbuds in or headphones on, and I don't say much to people because I play with a lot of Republican type people, farmers and stuff like that. And they all talk bad. Like Obama's been out of office for I don't know how many years. I do know. I just can't think of right now. But because Trump is tripping, man. He's got me. Got me off of it. He got me, man. Last night I think I was stuttering last night, and I ain't stuttered since I was a kid. But I sit there and I think about other things. I play video games. I talk to myself about issues. But I hear white guys, Obama was trash, and this and that, and then I go,
Perks up.
What'd you say? And I think they do stuff like that to throw me off. And one kid mentioned white privilege to me because there's no such thing as white privilege. So how am I more privileged than you? I struggle just like I said. The struggle part is not the privilege. Right. Everybody in their life has struggles, but do you fear the police? He goes, no. Privilege. That's it. That's one of them.
And let's bring up the police thing. Because white people always say, well, if you don't do anything wrong, then the police won't bother you. But that's
not true.
That's been proven false in instances like Elijah McClain and Breonna Taylor and Trayvon Martin. Like, all these people were not doing anything to break the law, and they were still killed just based on the color of their skin.
What's that guy's name? I can't remember that kid's name that was he was in his mid-20s. He was in the Walmart and was playing with a toy gun. And another customer called the cops on him. The cops came in, guns blazing, and turned the corner, seen him, shot him in like 3 seconds. I can't remember, but it was just in Walmart. Like people say comply.
Where they sell guns.
Yeah, people say comply, and that's not the truth. Like, if you get pulled, I got pulled over going to Highland one day when I first started driving a truck when I was younger, and I had a busted taillight because I got into a wreck like 2 weeks before that. And the cop goes, "You're riding. It's midnight, and you're out here without a taillight." I said, "I got one taillight." He goes, "You need both of them." I said, "Man, you all right?" He goes, "It don't matter if I'm all right. Fix your headlight." I said, "Man, my car is wrecked. What do you mean?" "I don't care." So he had an attitude for no reason. He jumped out the car, tanked up. I'm like, so how do you?
It's hard not to react.
Yeah, like you come to me, like, I'm a grown man. So is he. So you jump out of your car yelling at me for what? Like, what's wrong with you?
In a normal situation, like if a grown man's yelling at another grown man, that doesn't go well.
It doesn't go well, but he's got a badge and a gun.
He has authority.
Right.
Yeah. But I also think like cops should be trained how to de-escalate situations.
That should have never been escalated.
And know how to do that more than just the average everyday citizen.
Let me show you how to do it. Let me show you. Mm-hmm. I'm the cop. Act like you're me. Don't say much.
Act like that.
Okay. This is how you do it.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing, sir? How you doing? This is about 12:30. So, hey, how you doing? Good evening. Good morning. How you doing? Oh, I'm all right. I'm headed to work. Oh, okay. You headed to work? Hey, I just wanted you to know, man. Did you know that you did your headlights out? Oh, yeah, I knew it. I got into a wreck. Oh, you got into a wreck? Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear about that, man. So what I need you to do, though, you do need to have both your headlights working to be out here legally. Oh, man, cool. My bad. Whenever I take it to the shop, I'll take it to the shop when I can afford to fix it. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's how. Hey, man, just be careful. It's dark out here. It's midnight. Just get to where you're going and just remember, just go ahead and get that fixed. All right, cool. Have a good night.
But you're an average everyday citizen. Like, you shouldn't.
If I was a cop, that's how I would ask.
Right. But you shouldn't have to know that.
I'm not a cop. I know how to treat people.
Yeah. Over a cop actually treating you.
It's a headlight, fool.
Yeah. But I mean, people have been killed for that. Like Terrence Crutcher was gunned down in the street because his car broke down.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I mean.
That's Stillwater, Oklahoma.
No,
that was Tulsa.
Yeah. So I'm just saying this stuff exists. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it doesn't mean you've never struggled or you've never had hardship or you've never been poor as a white person. Like, you can be discriminated against because you're poor. Like, that's part of the socioeconomic thing. If you're poor, people look down upon you. And I mean, it shouldn't be like that, but that's just how it is, So that's all I wanted to say. Like, I wanted to give everyone examples of white privilege, tell people that it can cause white guilt, and give, I guess, solutions to, if you're feeling white guilt, like, go do something to help out other people. Like, go to a protest, donate, educate.
That's the biggest thing too.
Educate yourself, There's plenty of projects where I know there's one on wrongfully incarcerated people. There's Black Lives Matter. There's what is that called? Southern Poverty Law.
Southern Poverty Law.
Yeah. So there's all these organizations you can donate to be an advocate. There's things you can do to be an advocate.
And you ain't got to tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? If you got family,
right.
you got family that shame, you ain't got to say nothing to nobody. Just
feel like
slide that check over.
I feel like that should be part of it, because if you are feeling guilty, then there are ways to rectify that by speaking out against racism, speaking out against injustices, and advocating for people.
Right. You know, yeah, and also everybody that watches this video can also text us or send us a message. We can answer any question you can, best we can, or what we would do in the situation. We try to help you. It's no big deal. Right. Don't be scared to say something if you don't know.
We don't have all the answers either.
No, we don't, but we'll try.
We'll try. Okay.
We good? We good?
All right. Well, thank you everybody that joined us. Please comment on the video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already.
Mixed Emotions. YouTube.
Right. You have anything else?
Get a black friend.
Thanks, guys.